Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you also, ITC, for the opportunity, especially for a case study from a very small island state in the Pacific. First of all, Samoa is a small island state in the Pacific where, and I was told this morning with the opening session that Dr. Superchai was challenging Samoa to graduate soon. So hopefully in the next, when we have the next LDC, we would have graduated, but we are a very small island, so we're very vulnerable to any disaster. Tourism and agriculture are one of the key sectors in economic development, and especially now with tourism as a major foreign exchange earner for Samoa. As I said earlier, we are very, very vulnerable to natural disasters as well as external shocks. You know, with the crisis, it gets filtered down right down to our small islands and also to our communities. Also, in our country, women play a very special role in the family, also in the communities, in the church, and also in the development of our country. For our organization, Women in Business Development, we started off with a group of women who were conducting any types of business. And then we saw that, you know, there was just for profit and there was no developmental aspect to develop the majority of the women around the country. Hence, we changed our focus 20 years ago, and we looked at developmental objectives by providing opportunities, income-generating opportunities to women at the community and also in their families, and mainly looking at vulnerable families, vulnerable communities. So an integrated system we developed as a coordinator, facilitator, and of course as an LDC we rely on our good partners such as New Zealand, and also our developmental organizations such as ITC and UNZAD and FAO, and also NGOs such as Oxfam. So we develop income-generating projects where we utilize what is available in the backyard, whether it's a tourism project, a handicraft project, an agriculture project. And we saw ourselves as a small island countries, what is our competitive edge, especially in terms of tourism? What can we offer that Maldives or even Fiji next door is not offering? So we have a lot of challenges, and we also have to be very, very competitive. Hence, we had to look at, special markets. We have a project in terms of the value added, in terms of organic agriculture, where women in business facilitate the opportunity of setting up organic farming and also facilitate the certification of organic farms, and also providing value added at the community level. For a very small country, for very small communities, we have managed to partner with major corporations like Body Shop International, with 26 countries that they operate in, that we supply pure virgin coconut oil, organically certified. And because this corporation, this company, multinational company, also operates on the principles of community trade. So you have to have a win-win situation where you have the international player also meeting the objectives. And the advantage for us is a win-win situation just because our communities, as you also heard, the constraints of market, access to resources, access to credit, also capacity building. We integrate all this that we can provide and value add, and we partner with international companies to provide a product that can be sold at the international level. At the same time, we work with partners within the government. The government is a key player in champion the work that you do, and of course you sell the story. What I'm trying to say is you have to have a coordinated system, an integrated system where the NGO or the organization plays a critical role in facilitating everything, from the production, from nurturing, from even dealing with family problems. So we work with women and their families, also accessing finance, not only in terms of microfinance, but also building the capacity of savings. because it's no use loaning and then you pay your loan and then you don't have a sustainable plan. So these are all the impediments that we try and address through the value system. And now we're looking at sustainability. We're looking at new challenges because of the vulnerability. So we're looking at addressing climate change, climate mitigation, preparedness of, for disasters and for any other calamities that may come by. And we're also now working, as I said earlier, we have to have a competitive edge, especially in terms of tourism. Now we're looking at certifying villages in terms of organic, so that we have organic tourism. And this is a new phenomenon which is being promoted in some of the countries, and we would like to tap into that organic tourism, and we need the linkages. For a small organization, we need the linkages with government, with the organizations, not only within the country, but also abroad, so that we're able to build this network and then promote a competitive product, so that everybody at the end of the day has a win-win situation. So that is all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much on your work on the looking at the how to empower and help women in your country, Samoa, on the across the board to make sure that they are well off, and also sustainable assistance of this. I would like to introduce the minority speaker, who is the ambassador, sorry to say that, Ambassador Excellency Roy Miki Choi, as my good friend, ambassador from Vanuatu. And you are the only male speaker in this forum here. That's why I'm saying called minority. So, but anyway, I would like to seek your opinions on the what we can use for EIF. What about EIF? What is the approach from EIF? What the please.
Chair, thank you. I'm taking off calf, but I wanted to thank you and to recognize the role of ITC, particularly Director Madam Patricia Francis, for the leadership and the inspiration she's taken to IDC, particularly in support of the women and gender. I think that's one of the very few UNA changes, apart from those in UN in New York, that recognizes the value and the work that gender and women bring to not only the human life, but also to business and commerce. I think that is a very important work that IDC is doing, and I wanted to join others to congratulate IDC for their current WEDP program, which is the flagship of IDC. And it is through this program that IDC has continued to profile and support the joint visibility within the system in Geneva, in New York, and of course, in other important forums. So on that note, I think I wanted to thank IDC also for inviting me. I feel privileged to be part of this very distinguished panel, as mentioned by the speaker, overshadowed by the very powerful women around the room and on the table. But yeah, I wanted to begin by commending my colleague from the Pacific Island Forum Trade Office in Auckland, New Zealand. I think you did a very good presentation. I'm very impressed with the colorful cookery book from the Pacific you've given to Madam Francis. I'm pretty sure she's going to use some of those tissues to compare what they also produce in the Caribbean, particularly in Jamaica. Yes. But that's an advantage of the Pacific Island cookery and the food. Those of you who have not been to the Pacific, as mentioned by my sister Margaret, we have the big ocean of the Pacific Island, surrounded by the big ocean. We believe in geography that the Pacific Ocean constitutes over 60% of the water. Therefore, our strength also lies on the ocean and on the coast. And that is an advantage where, as mentioned by Margaret, the organic tourism should begin. And I think that is a very important marketing philosophical tool. On the EIF, Chair, as you mentioned, Vanuatu would be one of the only countries apart from Samoa and Solomon Islands that is now eligible to qualify or eligible to get funding from the Enhanced Integrated Framework. Thanks again to IDC as one of the co-agencies in the 6 agencies that participate in the program. Women in Vanuatu are very vulnerable. Firstly, they have always been suppressed. And secondly, they don't see men to not think that women should be able to be on the front line of the negotiating table. As a result, in our 52 legislature, there is only one lady MP. Good luck, she's currently the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Quarantine, Livestock, and Horticulture. So I think she has a very important task. But to translate the role of EIF into women, and as far as the tourism value chain is concerned, we have, with the support of New Zealand and UN and Australia, we've established what is known as the VANWODs, the Vanuatu Women in Development. It's a special scheme where women, all mothers, I think at the moment they have a number of about between 10 to 15,000 mothers are members of this little scheme, where they borrow money every week, they pay a little interest, and then they go back the next week to be able to borrow more. So the multiplier effect of this scheme has gone to the extent where the entire archipelago of the islands of Vanuatu, the women are now participating gradually in economic and commercial activities. I think this is a big plus, and that is something IDC and MEG, you should be able to look into that. Before I conclude, Chair, on the question of the EIF is very, very vital to us. In fact, if there's going to be one particular success that has brought the LDCs into bow with some of the development challenges, it would have been the role of the EIF. I had the privilege to be attending a luncheon hosted by Pascal Lamy today, and of course co-chaired by the chair of the EIF committee in Geneva, my good friend Ambassador Marubing from Lesotho, and the EIF executive director, Madame Torot Tempo. What was mentioned in that meeting, which came very clear from the head of the UNIDO in Austria, Dr. Gande Yamgela, it's the issue of scaling up resources. So while we've seen with great interest some of our big brothers in the African continent using the EIF funding to facilitate, to promote, to advance the commercial interest in the rural areas, Cambodia is an example, and so is Zambia. And this note I wanted to congratulate the government of Cambodia and Zambia, among others, for the great, tremendous leadership you've taken to the table to be able to advance and to expedite the process of the EIF. In the Pacific, we are sharing a greater interest with Samoa and Solomon Islands to also benefit equally from this. What our government's intention is to be able to allocate at least 30% of the EIF funding to support the women within the tourism industry. I'm sure I want to thank IDC through my good friend, Mr. Chuan. They've actually done some draft work on scaling up resources to support the particular women's group in Botville alone, who serve as the cruise ships that come, basically 3 cruise ships a week into Vanuatu. So they like to provide some level of assistance to train them to be able to deliver goods that are for marketable. Quality is good enough to be able to sell them to the tourists who take back to their own countries and destinations. But what I wanted to underscore here, Chair, is that EIF funds, among other issues, should be able to be used to support the supply chain of the women in our own countries to be able to participate more, better, more engaged, and more effectively in supply side mainstreaming of the tourism industry, which is a growing tourism industry. It's a growing industry in the region. And on that note, I wanted also to recognize the support that has been given to our women, even other women through their development agencies, New Zealand, for example, Australia, EU, and of course, ITC, for the tremendous role they've played in the last Women in Gender Development that was organized in my country in March of 2010. We look forward to working closely with you, Madam Frances, and your team in realizing and taking IDC to a new level as a result of UNCTAD 4. Thank you, Chair.
I thank you, Ambassador.